Hi, everybody. Dennis Weibold here, and I want to talk to you about captions, how to write them. It's a very basic piece of news writing that you need to understand how to do because every single piece of photojournalism needs some explanation about what's going on. A picture may be worth 1,000 words, but they all have to have a few choice words that explains what isn't apparent to a reader. Okay, everybody's going to have to write them at some point or another in your journalism career, so it's good to get a little bit of practice right now. I'm going to show you a photograph that was taken by Tom Nybo. He's a graduate of this school and he works for UNICEF. And in his job, he goes to crisis centers all over the world. And he was in Nepal last year in the capital city of Kathmandu when an earthquake struck. And this photo was taken by Tom in the immediate aftermath of that quake. It was so powerful, it was so gripping, it affected readers so deeply that it got millions of hits. It was on the front page of the New York Times, and it attracted people who wanted to know more about this major international story. So let's take a look at that photograph right now. That was a pretty powerful photograph, wasn't it? You got to see the agony and the desperation that was going on at that scene. It really enticed readers into that story and made them want to know more about it. Okay? Now you look at it and you have some questions, I think. You have to put yourself in the mindset of a distant viewer who knows nothing about what I just told you about the circumstance of the photo. They're going to want to know what's happening here. They're going to want to know who these people are. They're going to want to know where this is. They want to know when this was taken. They also want to know, is this scene part of a bigger news event that I should know about? Is it part of a larger international story that I need to know more about or may want to know more about? So you're going to have to write a caption that answers a lot of those questions. Let's try to do that. Let's break it into a couple of parts. Let's look at a first sentence that answers as many of those basic questions as we can in just a few words. Let's take a look at that caption right now. Pretty good first sentence, right? You'll notice that it's in the active voice too, something that your teacher's talking to you about in your news writing class. Some of the very basic good things about news writing can translate into all different kinds of writing. So active voice gets people into the picture and into the story very quickly. So that sentence, 17 words, tells you a lot of stuff. It tells you about what's happening. It tells you where you are. It tells you who the people are in the picture, and it gives you a sense of the desperation of the scene. Okay? It doesn't answer all of the questions. We still have a couple more to answer, and we can do that in another sentence. Let's take a look at that one. An amazing caption, really, when you think about it. In just 30 words, we have answered all those questions. We have told the story in a very powerful way, in a very brief, concise way that might entice people to go into the other news that you have on your site about that activity or that action or that disaster so they can find more about it. If you've done that with a caption, you've done something pretty amazing. You've made people want to read more. And when you do that, you are incredibly valuable to the people who hire you. Okay? Let's try to write a caption on your own now. Try one.